In my experience, most instructors don't fully realize the power of AI as far as how it can help with their course, with their teaching and learning. So today we're going to address how AI can be used to enhance their course. We're going to cover different aspects of this, and this correlates really well with a new book that I have just had published that deals with designing instruction with generative AI. So the idea here is that we can use AI as an instructional designer, meaning that through the power of AI, we can use it to enhance our course in many different ways. And that's the key here, is that there are many different aspects of this. Now, a key message that I try to always push with this book and just in general with academia is that it's not about offloading my cognitive processes. It's not about, oh, I have AI, so I'll just let the AI do everything for me. No, no, no. With that, you can get some results and you can definitely accomplish some things, but that's not the real power of AI. The real power of AI comes from us becoming subject matter experts in any field and then being able to use AI to accomplish so much more, to reach higher levels of attainment, as well as to being more effective with everything else that we're trying to do. So what do I mean by this? Well, when we have AI, now we can use it to address different issues, different problems, or different things that we want to accomplish within our course. Now, the big issue here is that a lot of us haven't had formal training dealing with how to teach, how to instruct students, how to develop a course, how to enhance a course. My PhD is in education, so yes, I have had that training, but so many other people in so many different fields haven't had that specific type of training. So we have that issue, as well as to become more capable and be able to do more things. Man, the power of AI is that we have this instructional designer right there in our pockets that can help us with this. So that's what we're going to do. And that's what the book does. The book explains what instructional design is and then helps you to see how AI can be used to assist you with that. So let's take a few different examples, because in academia, whether you're teaching in high school, elementary, or college level, we all run into different issues. Different issues as far as how to put a course together, what is backwards planning in order to understand the course, what is course alignment. All these things will help us to be that much better of an instructor, and AI can help us to achieve that. So let me jump through some of the different issues, right? Course alignment, that deals with making sure that things are properly set up so that the way that we have our student learning outcomes, that's first in order to understand, well, what are we teaching? What do we want them to learn? And then what evidence do we want to have as far as, hey, our students should be able to accomplish these things in order for us to decide that, yes, they've accomplished the course. And then our instructional strategies. What are we doing to help our student learn? What are we doing to develop our students so that they can exhibit the evidence of their learning so that they can pass the course, meaning that they understood the student learning outcomes. So all right there, that is course alignment. Now AI can help us with each one of those in different ways. To begin with, if I am teaching a course, well, I could simply go in and ask the AI, hey, I am teaching a course in psychology. So this is a course that is for freshmen. What are some key things that they should learn? So from that, we can extract student learning outcomes. But let's be more realistic in that a majority of the time we're given the SLOs, right? We're given the student learning outcomes. So we already have that, along with this is the evidence that they're going to have to display. You know, they have to achieve this on a test. They have to be able to accomplish these different projects. So we get those a lot. Now we can use AI to develop that, but a majority of the time we already have that. So let's focus, for the purposes of this example here, let's focus on teaching strategies, teaching activities. One of the big ways that we can use AI is simply to look at our course right now. So let's say I'm teaching a course on active listening. Now I teach this course on active listening and I have students go through, do a reading, and then we have a discussion in class, and then maybe later part of what they read will be on a test, right? So that's a very basic, common way of teaching content. But maybe I wanted to do much more than that. So what I can do is I can go to the AI and give it a prompt. And if you learned anything from watching this channel is that we would use an advanced prompt formula. And by doing that, now we can give a better prompt to the AI so that it can assist us to addressing this issue. Remember, we have a way that we're teaching. We want to enhance it so that we can make it more hands-on, more active, more engaging, more motivational. AI can assist us with this. So let's go through an example of that right now. So I'll put in a prompt like this. Please assume the role of a university professional communications instructor and an instructional designer. I am teaching students about active listening. I've been simply giving a lecture and then having a discussion about it, but I want to have a more hands-on activity to better motivate them so that they gain more experience in learning this topic so that they can use it even after graduation. I have 25 students who are juniors and seniors. Do you need any additional information to provide the best response? That's an example of an advanced prompt formula being implemented. I didn't just tell it, hey, give me some ideas on how to make active listening more active as far as the way that I teach it. No, I give it very specifics. You can see in there that I'm using a specific context. I told it to assume the role of a university professor as well as an instructional designer. I gave it the specific tasks. I gave it some additional information as far as the specifics and the reasons why I want this information, what I want to achieve with this. That's using a more advanced prompt. Now, by using the AI in this way, it's assuming the role of an instructional designer, and it'll give us very usable information to enhance our course. You can see here that one of the last things I said is, do you need any additional information to provide the best response? And sure enough, yes, it does have additional questions that it asked me in order to try to give me the most correct answer that specifically addresses my needs. So it asks about class format. Is this in person, online, synchronous, asynchronous? Time available. How much time is available for this? Classroom setup. Do I have flexibility to move students around? And assessment goals. Do you want the activity primarily for practice and motivation, or should it also provide a graded assessment? Excellent questions in order to give me a better answer. So I'll answer this by saying this is an in-person class that lasts 50 minutes. I want this to be a 20-minute activity. We can move around and even leave the classroom if needed. I want this to be a formative activity to help them become professional communicators. And since this is just a formative activity, I'm going to say that this will be part of their participation grade. So this is interesting that it gives me this idea of the listening triad, so that the students will practice listening, acknowledging, and restating to demonstrate active listening. The idea here is that there'll be groups of three. One will be a speaker, one will be a listener, one will be an observer. So it talks about how I can implement this and then why this would work and possible options. So I could take that answer, but the beauty of this is that in part of the advanced prompt formula, the big thing is refinement. So I could continue on with this. Maybe I don't like this. I'm going to say, give me 3 other ideas to make this a hands-on motivational learning activity. I want more options. So this gives me some interesting ideas. One is back-to-back directions where students pair up and then they sit back to back so they can't see each other. So the idea here is that they're understanding that, yeah, I miss some of the information because I can't directly see them. I can't directly ask clarifying questions, and how this can lead to miscommunication. Another one is listening in layers. So here we introduce actual distractors. So one student is listening, one student is talking, and then 2 other students act as distractors that cause interruptions, side comments, tapping, things like this to cause problems with the person trying to listen. And then afterwards they talk about, well, what happened here? Why was this a problem? So they really get to experience what it's like to not be able to actively listen. So the idea is a silent interview challenge, meaning that you pair students up and then one is the interviewer, one is the interviewee. The student that is talking expresses their answer to a question, and then the interviewer must remain silent for 60 seconds using only eye contact, nodding, and gestures. And then they discuss how this helped to develop trust or broke trust, depending on the result. Very interesting ideas, and I really like this listening in layers. So I can again continue on with this by saying, give me more specific information on how I can implement the listening in layers activity. Give me step-by-step instructions so that I can do this in my class. So it goes through and gives a breakdown here that says, here's a quick overview. Here's the materials and the room setup. Here's the timing. Setup and instructions should take 2 minutes. The activity, 5 rounds, 3 minutes each, should take 15 minutes. And the whole class debrief, that should take 3 minutes as well. So it goes in and gives specific information on what's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to work, and then the rotations, the distractor rules. Again, an explanation step by step as to how I'm supposed to do this. But again, remember that you are retaining all of the information, you are retaining all of the power, because although this gave some great information, one thing that I don't like here is that, hey, this is supposed to be set up as far as 5 people per group. I think that's too many. So I can simply, again, continue on the conversation and say something like, change this to only be 4 people per group. And sure enough, it was able to go through and modify it so that now it is dealing with 4 people within each group. And that's the key thing to understand, is that I need to still use my knowledge, still use my capabilities as an instructor, so that even though I'm getting assistance from the AI, I'm still in charge and I'm still using all of my cognitive capabilities, because I am an instructor and I would have different levels of experience. So I can make these decisions as far as, oh, a group of 5, no, that's too many. In my experience, when we have groups larger than 4, there tends to be problems. So I can tell that to the AI. I can have this ongoing conversation so that it modifies whatever it's giving me. And then it spits out this step-by-step instruction for me to enhance my class, enhance this activity. So that's just one idea from this book. But the key thing that I want you to take away from this is that any issue that you have in teaching can now be addressed, because we have a friend in AI, in that it can function as our instructional designer to assist us. I love instructional design. I love instructional designers. I've worked with many. I've worked as an instructional designer. And by all means, if you have access to one, go and use that instead of an AI. Use the real person. It's so much better, so much more interactive. But the reality is that most of us don't have access to an instructional designer. At one university I worked at, it was a very large university. We had 2 instructional designers and they were always busy, always full. So access is very limited. At the university I work at right now, no instructional designers. And that's the reality that many professors and teachers face at different levels, is that they simply don't have an instructional designer. So now the power comes in using AI in that way to address not only developing the class itself, not only to enhancing the class through special activities like we just talked about, but even things like, maybe I have problems in my class, right? So like, let's say I have a behavioral issue and I've done things to try and address it, but now I want some additional guidance to help me to address the situation. So here's an example of that. So I'll say, please assume the role of an English professor and an instructional designer. I teach technical writing and have 3 students who are constantly on their phones. I've asked them to put it away during class, but they are not doing so. These are smart students, but I want them to pay attention and not distract others so that everyone can focus better and learn. I have 30 students in my class and we meet every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 50 minutes. What would you suggest I do to better address this issue? Do you need any additional information to provide the best answer possible? Once again, the AI comes back and it says, hey, I do have a couple of questions. Is there any type of institutional policy? And what is your teaching philosophy? Do you want it to be student-centered or professor-centered? So in this case, I went ahead and said that, hey, we don't have an overall policy dealing with this, and I definitely want it to be student-centered. So from that, it says excellent, and then it provides me with this idea of what I can do within my class to help address this issue. So here it says to reframe the issue within the class, have a discussion with them, talk about community responsibilities and what we can do to address this, and to make sure that everyone knows that if you use your phone, it's distracting to other people, and then come up with solutions together to build a consensus, and then also follow up with those 3 students and make sure that you're addressing the issue specifically with them so that they understand the consequences, the issues, and why this is important. And again, remember that I can continue that conversation. Maybe I didn't like that response, or maybe I've tried that already. So I could continue on and say, no, give me some additional ideas. I've tried this already, or I have this other issue, so give me information. That's the power that we have now with AI and treating it as an instructional designer. Now, the key though is to use the proper interaction. You see how within that advanced prompt formula, I'm asking it this in a certain way. I'm being specific with the way that I'm formulating things. So that's important here in using this understanding of how to best get the best results from the AI. And I've tested this with many different AIs, as far as with ChatGPT, with Grok, with Claude, with Gemini. They all seem to work very well if we align it in the right way, meaning that we're asking it using an advanced prompt formula. You're seeing how the context is there, the reasons, the viewpoint, all these things are very important. So I encourage you to think about this and remember that it's not just about using AI to solve your problems, but to be learning as you're going through this, to be thinking about this. Because with overall AI literacy, we're still in this, right? We still have this awareness of what's going on. We're enhancing our capabilities. We have the knowledge, and then we're using critical thinking. We're always using critical thinking to ensure that, hey, the answers are correct. This makes sense. This is passing our own understanding of this. And if need be for some of the results, we can say, give me sources. Remember, this is an ongoing conversation, so you can say, give me sources so I can verify this information. Different solutions might require us to be a little bit more ensuring of the information's validity, so we can ask for sources to double check and to see if this will work well within our situation. So that's the power of AI, that we can use it now in this wonderful way as an instructional designer. I'm very excited about my book. That's why I keep showing you, because this is available now for you to use, that will guide you through, and it has multiple different sections to talk about all different aspects of instructional design to help you develop that knowledge so that you can always know what right looks like when you use AI as an enhancement tool to help you with instructional design, to help you to solve issues, problems that come up while teaching. So it's a powerful tool that I strongly recommend. What are your thoughts on this? What are your experiences with this? Help us as a community learn and develop from one another. So I'm very interested in your thoughts and your comments. I look forward to reading all of them. And remember, learning is for life. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you watching this video. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that we can continue to grow. Also, be sure to realize that this is a great book that has now been made available. I have other books available dealing with AI in education, as well as an online course. So if you're interested in developing AI literacy, either at a basic level or at more advanced level for academics, then please check that out. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.